Hello fellow humans, welcome back to my channel. I've been playing a certain game on Roblox for the past while, when all of a sudden the game blew up. I've been playing encounters. Ever since it started I wanted to find a tier list, but when I started playing it only had like 100 active players, so there were none. Nowadays the game has over 7,000 active players and multiple tier lists, but I find myself disagreeing with nearly all of them.
But not good pick.
All of these tier lists didn't give much description on why they were in the tiers they were. Now that I've played the game a lot, I want to share my opinion and why I think that. Each character will be divided into 3 parts: the tier and why they are in it, counter picks, and how to play the character effectively. This might be a two-parter. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So what is encounters? Essentially, you want to attack your opponent, make them gain percent, and then launch them off stage. Kinda like Super Smash Bros., right? Kinda. First of all, Encounters is entirely 3D, with a more limited moveset containing 4 moves. Everyone has the same basic recovery of dashing and jumping. The main thing, though, is stamina. Every character has different stamina usage on their moves, and when you're out of stamina, you can't dash, or jump, shield, or perform actions. Simple. Hope so. The first character I will be talking about is going to be Construct. Personally, I think he's C tier. He has some good hitboxes, but he deals with projectiles poorly, and his ultimate is predictable, and he just can't kill any other way. By the way, I'm not sure that many combos in this game are completely true against every character, but with Construct you can occasionally chain 3 E's. How should you play him? Well, keep in mind that your hitboxes aren't as big as they seem, and you will not be able to trade hits and out-damage characters like Dawn, Gunzo, and most other melee characters. However, you can kill early with your final by using it right before you hit them with it, so they don't see that you have it yet. How should you play against him? Well, you can just kinda camp him by racking up percent and exploiting his lack of range and approach options. Keep in mind, however, that with his final, he will kill early, and also that his mouse button 2, his second move, can move him closer to you, but uses a good amount of stamina. Ryan is an anime sword fighter. Like we need any more of those. Anyway, he's an A tier character. All of his weaknesses have options to get around them. He has his own projectile. His E allows him to close gaps and punish bad approaches. His Q is just a free hit, where he essentially teleports to anyone close by. His projectile and E, however, use a lot of stamina. How should you play him? Well, he's a really good character overall, and his mouse button 1 keeps you in and combos with itself. He gains charge really quickly, and remember, if you have your final or Q and you get knocked away, if you use it quickly enough, you'll be able to teleport to them and hit them away instead.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
How should you play against him? Essentially, you just need to remember that when he shoots 2 projectiles, he's out of stamina and you can cheese him. Also, when he begins to follow you more closely, he likely has his final. There isn't much else I can suggest gameplay-wise, but a few counter picks include Kusanagi, who's just better Ryan, and Pack 2. Here we come to Rina. Everyone thinks Rina is really annoying, but in a 1v1, which is what this video is based on, she stinks. F tier. Why? Because as soon as you approach her, she takes massive damage, her arrows are finicky and difficult to hit. Even when you hit them, they have lackluster knockback until high percents, and your only option to escape a character just jumping on you and smacking you is E, which is a grappling hook that remains you inactionable until you reach where it hit. How do you play her? Put as much distance between you and the opponent as possible. Use mouse button 1 fully charged to knock them back. Who is she counterpicked by? Anyone with a good melee attack can just stand next to her and hit her with little to no consequence. Poppy is the next character, but while I was filming this match, I came across a Seth and a Poppy teaming. Anyway, Poppy is the definition of annoying, and as such she is in B tier. Because her paint cans give her free control of the stage, and when someone is stuck in them, they don't regain stamina, and Poppy gets massive amounts of charge. Her only option is her final, which is hard to hit but does massive knockback. Poppy is a character that can camp you out, and you can't do much about it as certain characters.
Perfectly balanced.
You can essentially play her by waiting until the opponent comes to you or falls for a trap with the paint cans. If they are camping too much, you can approach them, place a paint can, and detonate it as soon as possible. How do you play against this? Well, you can be patient and aware and avoid traps. Keep in mind, when there is goop on screen from her paint cans, she can't place down more, so this is a perfect time to approach. I think Mai is a good counter pick because her projectiles and final both cover good areas, so she can camp Poppy back. Kusanagi is the first character we put into S tier. Yay! I watched many videos, and none of them put him here, and that surprises me. The reason I think he's S tier is because none of his moves are bad, and all of them are good. His ultimate kills super early and does a fair amount of percent.
Perfectly balanced.
His mouse button 2 travels way too far and does decent knockback if you're looking to guard the stage after knocking someone off. And his E, his counter, is the most fair move of them all, killing stupid early and dealing decent percent. Fiona is an S tier character as well, because her knife is a projectile, but her E allows her to teleport to it. This allows her to do some crazy stuff because you can cancel knockback by using E. Also, when they are at 0, you can knife them and then spam E until you get your final and do near 100 damage in one combo.
Happy feet, one more combo.
You have a lot of freedom to really play her however you want, because you can camp or rush in with knife and E combos. But remember, when you throw your knife, you don't always have to teleport to it, because it becomes predictable. She doesn't really suffer any horrible matchups. Honestly, maybe Elena would camp her more, but that's it. To play against her, just try not to get hit by the knife and camp the knife when she's off stage. Wow, 3 S tiers in a row. Don't worry, it's not rigged. I have a really good reason that Pack 2 is an S tier. More like 1,000. Let's start. His mouse button 2 hitbox is massive. Same with his mouse button 1. His mouse button 1 can outdamage Dawn and most other characters. His E freezes time for the opponent if they are in the range. And his final can be a flurry of punches hitting anyone in the range, or a projectile that edgeguards opponents until they die. Also, you can just spam his mouse button 2 on anyone off stage as soon as they get on stage, and they run out of stamina and die. He has no weaknesses. You can play him really aggressively with mouse button 2 and mouse button 1, waiting until you get full charge, and then just destroy them. One of the only counter picks, I think, is Elena, who can camp him out and force him to approach and make a mistake. Back in the early days, before patch notes, Hannah was broken. She was able to hold her mouse button 2 and still gain stamina. Her tornado is a great kill option, and nothing used too much stamina. But they nerfed her into the ground. Now she is D tier, in my opinion. Also, I found out if you shield and dash at the same time, you can kind of shield dash to get past projectiles and things. Anyway, why is she so bad? Her tornado does like no knockback now. She doesn't gain stamina holding her mouse button 2, and she just has no other options once you approach her. She suffers from virtually the exact same thing that Rina does, but her hitboxes are better. She is still beaten out by most characters, but at least she's got that going for her. You can play her by just camping with projectiles and running when they approach. A Rash is a projectile character done right. A tier. Let me explain why. You can't just run up to him because his karambit, mouse button 1, gives him so much charge, and you can no longer shield his final, a C4 that sticks on you. His grenade and Molotov may do damage to him, but he can control where and when he throws them. The only way he falls off is when you outrange his karambit with a melee attack. Then there's not much he can do. You can play him by camping with grenade and Molotov, and then using karambit and your final when they approach you. It's simple and effective. Counterpicks can include Pack 2, Kusanagi, and Seth. I just want to take this moment to say thank you for 50 subscribers. This video was on a less cloudy topic, and I would really appreciate if you subscribed and liked for all my hard work on this video. Comment down below any people you think I should redo, and remember to like this video, because if it does well enough I will make a part 2. See you later!